Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
So, Karen SELTZ is a spiritual guide, intuitive mentor, and today she's going to talk about embrace who you came here to be and show the F up. Welcome, Karen. I have to say that that title just caught me and gripped me, and I can't wait to see what you have to hear. Sorry, what you have to say.
Oh, thank you, Monty. Hearing the other speakers makes me a little bit nervous about the content I have prepared. So if you are a parent and your children are nearby and they are younger than teenage age.
Karen, can I introduce your work a little bit?
Oh yeah, let me give my disclaimer really fast and you can introduce me.
Sure,
I
go ahead.
to get them out of the room.
Okay. So Karen SELTZ M.Ed has triumphed over depression, sex addiction, low self-worth, and self-confidence, and playing small by doing the deep inner work that she now shares with her clients. She's been called to be the loving interruption to the disempowering stories, beliefs, and patterns that have kept her clients stuck. Karen has the ability to see the beauty and possibility in people and mirror it back to them, enabling her clients to release the things that no longer serve them, accept the truth and beauty about ourselves, and fully step into their power and gifts in a whole new empowered and embodied way, so they can serve at a higher level. Karen is also the founder of happinessguru.net. Welcome, beautiful Karen. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, Monty. All right, hopefully you got my disclaimer that if you have young children nearby, please hit mute immediately because I'm going to share my story without censoring it. All right, you've had your warning. So I'm gonna just start off with this. Fuck playing small. Fuck feeling like you're not enough. Fuck running from your calling and pretending like you don't know what it is. And fuck the voice of the inner critic that's kept you small and kept you thinking that you had to know everything and be perfect before you could even start. The voice that says, I'll start tomorrow, it's okay. And the voice that wants you to feel like you're less than. Hi, I'm Karen SELTZ. I'm so happy that you've made the choice to be here. I'm going to share with you my journey through depression, addiction, low self-worth, low self-confidence, feeling like I wanted to die, to be honest. And I'm going to share with you the steps that I took to emerge from that and become empowered and not ashamed any longer to share what I've been through, so that other women and men can have the confidence and the courage to share without censoring themselves and without that fear that they're going to be rejected or that they're unlovable. I remember looking in the mirror one evening and saying to myself, who are you? I don't even recognize you. You are disgusting. What the fuck are you doing to yourself? I didn't realize it then how much courage that it actually took for me to look myself in the eye that night. I had just returned from yet another sexual encounter. I could not stand as a human being, but I was physically and emotionally addicted to him. I had been changing myself to try to keep him from leaving and to keep getting my source of my drug that happened to be sex. And I had strayed so far from who I was, like at my core, who I knew I was, my authentic self, the woman of integrity that God had called me to be. I was so deep in self-hatred. The next day I went to a 12-step meeting, and afterward I met with my sponsor. And I remember saying to him, like, I am so deep in this addiction. I don't see any hope, and I don't know how I'm ever going to get out. And he said to me, what's it costing you? What is addiction costing you? And being steeped in denial as I was, I said, without missing a beat, well, I don't think it's costing me anything. Which is so comical now, right? And he said, well, would you be willing to make a list? And I said, yeah, sure, but it's going to be a short list. So I actually went home and did it. And at item number 39, I wrote everything. As long as I keep devaluing myself and trying to fill that bottomless void with other people, I don't feel that I deserve anything good in my life. And I was sabotaging every single other area. So once that realization sunk in, I hit my knees and I was just sobbing, and I had like snot running down my face. And I said, God, I surrender. I surrender. I'm here. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to be humble. I'm willing to be led. Please help me. And it was in that moment I heard the most beautiful, loving voice that said, welcome home, my child. I have never left you. I've simply been waiting for your invitation. I grew up without receiving unconditional love, and I didn't know what it felt like. That was the first taste I had ever experienced of like true unconditional love. And it was that love that enabled me to make a choice. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I trusted. I trusted that God had a plan for me and would take me all the way so I could finally like close the door on this addiction and be the woman, the mother, the coach that I had come here to be. So looking back now on my journey, I think there are three main things that I did. Number one was to make a decision. Number two was to do something courageous every single day. And number three was to be willing to get quiet and listen for that voice of God that had always been there. So the first thing that I did was I made that decision to stop the addictive behavior, no matter what it took, and to listen to my sponsor, to what he thought was best for me. Because at that time, every instinct I had was self-destructive. It kind of reminds me of that old Seinfeld episode where George said, if every instinct I have is wrong, I'll just do the opposite. I knew that if I wanted any change that was lasting, that I had to have an entire system overhaul. And I did not know what was best for me. The decisions I'd been making landed me exactly in the place I was. I didn't like that place. So I became humble. And as I started to chemically withdraw from the addictive process, the addictive behaviors that created these chemicals in my brain, the ego voices were so loud and believable. I kept hearing, you're going to die. You're going to shrivel up until you're just gone. You will cease to exist unless you get validation, unless you go act out. And I had to keep reminding myself and just like praying, like, God, help me, help me, help me. And picking up the phone and calling other people. I know now that anytime we want to change behaviors like that are deeply ingrained, mentorship and accountability are absolutely crucial. And I know the first thing, the first step to making any change is to make that decision. Like, draw that line in the sand and declare it. Say it to the world, like, this is who I am. This is who I choose to be. The second thing I did was to make another decision and make a commitment to do one thing that scared the crap out of me every single day, to build my courage. Because at that time, I was a coward, to be honest. I had so many masks that I put on to try to get approval from everybody. I was so fake. I did not know who I was. And the way that I started this is kind of interesting. I started going to this support group that was all women. That was, the intention was to learn how to love others unconditionally and to feel unconditionally loved by learning to tell the truth about yourself. Well, this was a new concept for me. I was like a liar. I was an addict. So I was married at the time. And I started like trying to manipulate and tell like little truths to make myself not look so bad. And the host of the meeting said to me, why don't you tell us what you're afraid to tell us? And I'm like, oh, crap. So I took a deep breath. I gathered all my courage. I looked at the floor and I said, I sleep with married men. And I didn't look up for quite a while. I mean, it seemed like forever. And there was silence. And I don't know. I expected everybody to throw things at me and to look at me with hatred in their eyes and to see me as a threat. And that's not what happened. When I finally got the courage to look up, I saw compassion in the eyes of these women like I had never seen before. And then it opened up this place, this safe place for these other women to share those dark hidden secrets. Like, yeah, I had an affair and I've never told a soul. So that was really important for me. Then I saw this documentary or a TED Talk called What I Learned from the 100 Days of Rejection by a Chinese gentleman named Jia Zhang. And he actually tried to get rejected for 100 days in a row. He tried. That was his intention. That's brilliant. After seeing this documentary, I thought, wow, why didn't I think of that? So he did it to get over his intense fear of rejection. And what he found was if he engaged, instead of just asking a question, and when people said no, he would run away at the beginning because he filmed himself. If he stayed and asked questions and sought to understand the other person's point of view, he would often get what he had to ask for, even if it was crazy. So I actually downloaded his app called Dare Me. And this is so much fun. When I get stuck in my head, well, prior to COVID, or started thinking everything was about me, this is a great way to get out of it. So one of the dares that I just love is to go someplace. I go here, I'm in Phoenix, to an outdoor shopping area, and I will ask a complete stranger to race. Now, not only is this hilarious, but it just like brings so much joy and aliveness to me. And it definitely gets me out of my head. It's so funny. You got to try it when COVID's over. I guess you could do it with a mask. So just like having the courage to get out of my comfort zone was huge. And it increased not only my capacity to use my courage, but my confidence. I'm like, wow, I did that. Like I could do other things then, it just started to be able to apply it to other things. So the third thing I did, this is really important, was I learned how to get quiet and to listen for the voice of God. This required me to let go of a lot of the stories that I had had about myself. Like, I'm too hyperactive and my mind is too busy. I can't sit still and meditate. Yeah. So what I learned worked best for me was to journal. I would do a mind dump And then when there was a little bit of space, like a clearing between thoughts, I would write my question for God. And then I would listen and I would write the answer that I heard. And it never failed. It was always such a loving voice. It's words that I wouldn't have used at that time to talk to myself. There was never a should or you must. It's always like, you are perfect. You are exactly the way I created you. I got you. What I found was the biggest challenge to connecting and actually hearing that voice was me feeling like I was worthy of hearing that voice. And as luck would have it, I actually found the most simple and profound meditation in this book called The Way of Mastery. And it's simply this. On the inhale, I silently say in my head, I accept. And on the exhale, the love of God. I accept the love of God. 5 minutes a day added to my morning routine. I don't know how long it took. I don't remember. But when I got that, like not up here, but when I got it in my heart and my body and my soul, that was the first time I stopped looking outside of myself for validation, approval, acceptance. And I started going within, saying, well, what feels right to me? And I started to trust myself. And once I got that piece that I was worthy in God's eyes, I just showed up differently. I mean, how could you not, right? So that was really huge. The other piece of that worthiness was I was able to finally own my mission here and to step into it in a powerful way. And my mission is to embody God's love and to show it to everyone and to be able to share my journey in such a way that I don't have shame around it. It gives other people permission to do the same, to not only own their pasts, but to own what's beautiful about them. And it's always been there, like they're gifts. And I believe the more we're willing to use the gifts we've been given, the more gifts will open up to us. For example, like one of the things that has happened to me along my coaching journey is the gift of what I call true sight, where no matter how many masks people put on, I can see right through them and see the beauty inside and see the potential. And I call it out. Like, this is what I see possible for you. This is who you are, not those other things. Those are not you. They're false. They're illusions. That's not who you are. And that's not why you're here. It's just been a beautiful journey for me. And I'm so grateful that I have the honor to actually witness women wake up to their gifts and their potential and to exercise courage. The smiles on the faces of people that have just done something courageous are like nothing else. It's like, you know, I'm sure you can relate. I think we've all had fears like, oh gosh, I could never do that. And then we're like, we take those little steps and we finally do it. And we're like, that wasn't so bad. And I feel so good right now. So again, like the result of all those three things that I did. So I made a decision. I exercised courage every single day. And I made the time and had the willingness to get quiet and to listen to guidance from the divine. As a result, I've been sober from sex addiction for over 5 years. My depression that I had for over 20 years is completely gone. And I'm off of all the antidepressants. I quit my unfulfilling job. And I finally had the courage to embrace who I came here to be and to show the fuck up for myself by starting my own coaching business. It's not perfect. Life is never perfect, but I'm so much happier and content. And I have found meaning in everything that I do. I know that I matter now. and that my message matters and that I'm here, not for me. My mission has nothing to do with me. It has to do with serving. And once I got out of my head, I also was able to let go of the being nice thing. Like, I don't have to be nice. It depends what I'm called to do. And I don't need, especially clients, I don't need their approval at all. I don't need them to like me. It's like parenting. I don't need my kids to like me. I need to be an effective parent. It's just been like a really beautiful journey, and I'm super, super grateful. And I have a challenge for you. So first, let me ask you this. Where are you not showing up for yourself? What is it costing you living this way? For me, I was depressed. I was sad. I was angry. I was numbing out. I didn't want to feel my feelings. I wasn't willing to. And I wasn't present for myself, my kids, my clients. So my challenge for you is to take out a piece of paper and write down just one dream that you've had inside that maybe you've never even had the courage to speak out loud before. Just write it down. And then write down 5 possible steps you could take to make that dream a reality. I'm going to go a little fast. I don't know what the time is. So I don't know if you're going to have time to do this now, but do it. Promise you'll do it later today, right after this. After you get those 5 things down, circle your top 3 options. And then choose just one that you will commit to doing today. Don't start tomorrow, start today. There is nobody with your unique set of gifts, skills, talents, abilities, experiences. The world needs you to embrace who you came here to be and to show the fuck up. You deserve a life full of meaning, happiness, a bold adventure filled with courage and experiences. It's up to you to take the bull by the horns and to get the most out of life. I believe in you. You got this.